Hey, listener name. Wow, you weren't kidding when you said you'd send over some stuff about AI, huh? Looks like we've got a lot to unpack here.
It's definitely a hot topic.
For sure. So we've got slides here, it looks like, from YGWYG 12, July 22nd.
Okay.
And then another presentation titled Plain AI Maturity Model.
Hmm.
And then those Google AI experiments. Have you
Oh,
seen those?
yeah, and I've seen those. Those are cool.
The fonts made from tea leaves and Lego pieces.
Wow.
Wild. Okay, and then of course no deep dive on AI would be complete without talking about, the practical side. So we've got some news articles on AI's energy consumption, which we'll get to.
Right.
But I think a good place to start might be this plain AI maturity model presentation. Have you seen this before?
I have, yeah. It's a pretty common framework for thinking about like where companies are in their AI journey.
Yeah, and what I think is so interesting about it, well, first of all, I like how they visualize it. With the 5 stages of AI adoption, you've got pre, loan, adopt, instruct, enhance.
Yeah, it's a helpful way to kind of break it down because it
Yeah.
can feel kind of overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And they've got that timeline graphic going from AI of first to AI adventurers, which I kind of like.
Totally. Makes it more approachable.
Yeah, and then they have the data from the survey, which I thought was really interesting, like that almost half of the respondents are in the loan category.
Oh, really?
Yeah, meaning that AI use is isolated.
Hmm.
So it's not necessarily being strategically implemented.
Right. More like ad hoc. Yeah.
Exactly. And then another 24% are in pre, meaning, early interest, but no real concrete action.
Right. So lots of potential, but still a ways to go. And speaking of potential,
Yeah.
have you gotten to these cat pictures yet?
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty funny.
I love these. Okay, so we've got cats holding up signs.
Yeah, like little furry protesters.
Right, like hot or not, clothing to fool AI cameras, generative lettering, generative video, bad for the environment,
Hmm.
and trained on stolen content. So they've clearly been thinking about AI.
Yeah, somebody's been watching a little too much Black Mirror, I think.
Right. So maybe not today, but we probably won't dive into like the ethics and bias.
Yeah, unless it comes up specifically in these materials.
Yeah.
We'll try to stick with what you've sent. But I think these cat pictures are a good jumping off point to talk about, separating hype from reality.
Mm-hmm.
Because AI does have a lot of potential, but there are also limitations.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's unpack a couple of these concerns. Like starting with hot or not,
Okay.
it kind of feeds into that idea that AI can make like human-like judgments about things. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, I think it's important to remember that AI, it doesn't have subjective judgment
Right.
or, personal preferences.
Right.
Really, all it's doing is learning from the data that it's been trained on.
Well,
So it can identify patterns, make predictions, but
it's not actually thinking about it.
exactly. It's not like, oh, I think this is better than this. It's more like, based on the patterns I've seen,
Right. Yeah.
this is what's statistically more likely.
Okay. So then how about this clothing to fool AI cameras? This one feels very like straight out of a sci-fi movie. Are we really at that point where we can trick AI systems?
Yeah, that's getting at what's called adversarial attack,
Okay.
where you're deliberately trying to, you know, deceive an AI system. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely a real thing, an area of research.
Yeah.
But the good news is that AI is constantly evolving.
Okay.
And researchers are, they're coming up with more robust and secure systems all the time. So it's a bit of an arms race, right?
Right.
As people are finding new ways to trick AI, others are finding new ways to make it harder to trick.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. So on a lighter note, we've got generative lettering and generative video, which, we have this image of the bear in the woods, which is clearly AI generated. It looks really cool. It's impressive, but obviously not real.
Yeah, although it's getting harder and harder to tell these days. But
Right. So where does AI stand in terms of creativity?
that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
I think these images are a good example of how AI can be used in creative fields. We see it with generating art, music, writing.
Yeah.
But the important thing to keep in mind is that while it can create these impressive outputs,
Right.
it's not replacing human creativity.
Okay.
It's more like a tool that we can use to augment and enhance our own creativity.
So it's more of a collaboration.
Exactly. AI can help us come up with new ideas, explore different possibilities,
Okay.
but that initial spark, that conceptual foundation, still has to come from the human mind.
Well said. I like that. Okay, so speaking of foundations, this cat is concerned about the environment. Bad for environment. We've got these two news articles that I think speak to that. This one is, as use of AI soars, so does the energy and water it requires. And then this other one here from Vox, AI already uses as much energy as a small country. It's only the beginning. So
Wow.
kind of alarming. And they sent over an image of a massive data center.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we definitely can't ignore, right?
Right.
AI requires a lot of computational power, a lot of data storage,
Yeah.
and all of that requires energy.
Mm.
And so, these data centers that house all these powerful computers running these AI algorithms, they consume a lot of electricity, a lot of water for cooling.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a significant issue.
Yeah. Something to think about. All right. And then this last cat trained on stolen content, which I think is really interesting.
That one gets into some murky territory for sure.
Right. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it really highlights the challenges around data ownership and copyright
Mm.
in the age of AI. Because these AI models are trained on these massive, massive data sets.
Right.
And so the question becomes, where did that data come from? Who owns it?
Right.
And is it being used ethically and legally?
And are there any rules in place even, or is this the Wild West?
Yeah, it's a bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, there are laws and regulations, but they're struggling to keep up with the pace of technological change. And so you have all these legal and ethical considerations that are still being debated. It's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
So it seems like with all these questions about data and where it comes from, one thing that really stands out from all this material is just how accessible AI is becoming.
Yeah, totally.
These Google AI experiments that you sent over, like
Yeah.
being able to create fonts from tea leaves or Lego pieces. It's wild.
It's pretty amazing. Like you said, it used to be that AI was this thing that was, locked away in these research labs, big tech
Yeah. Right,
companies.
right.
But now it really feels like it's becoming more democratized.
Possibly.
There are all these tools and platforms that are making it easier for just about anyone to at least dip their toes into the world of AI, even without needing a deep technical background.
It kind of reminds me of like the early days of like personal computing.
I know, right?
It's like that same kind of like excitement of exploration and discovery.
Totally. And just like the personal computer revolutionized the way we live and work.
Right, for
I
sure.
think AI has that same potential to transform industries, aspects of our lives, in ways we probably can't even imagine right now.
Yeah, totally. Speaking of transformations, I wanted to circle back to these news articles about AI's energy consumption because that stood out to me.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
This article, as use of AI soars, so does the energy and water it requires.
Right.
They really break it down the fact that it's so resource intensive, like especially when it comes to generative AI, like we've been talking about with these images. The amount of computation, data storage involved, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it's only going to increase as these AI models become more complex and, we're using them for more and more things. But I will say there is a lot of work being done to try to make AI more energy efficient.
Okay, that's good.
Like there's research on optimizing AI algorithms to make them less energy hungry.
Okay.
And there's also a growing movement to power data centers with renewable energy sources.
Yeah, which is good because this other article from Vox, I mean, this was kind of a scary statement. AI already uses as much energy as a small country. It's only the beginning. So that kind of puts it into perspective.
Yeah, it definitely highlights the need to be really thoughtful about how we develop and deploy AI.
Right, right,
Because like you said, it has the potential to do a lot of good.
right, for sure.
I mean, you think about the applications in healthcare, education, transportation, all these different fields, but we also have to consider the environmental costs
For sure.
and really try to find that balance between technological advancement and environmental responsibility.
It's not about stopping progress, but it's about making sure that progress is made in a way that's sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's going to require a lot of collaboration between, researchers, policymakers, industry leaders,
Yeah.
even just individuals like yourself who are taking the time to learn about these issues.
Right.
I mean, we all have a part to play in shaping the future of AI.
Okay, well said. And speaking of the future of AI, I wanted to switch gears a little bit and look at these presentation slides from YGWYG12.
JUI Y22.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it seems like this event was all about AI, like the latest advancements, tools. Totally. It seems very much like an industry thing.
Mm.
Lots of talk about campaigns. There's these QR codes to like scan for more information.
Right.
They even mentioned this McRobert Award, which I guess is like a big deal in the UK for like engineering innovation.
It really feels like it's gone from this niche thing to being like a driving force in so many industries.
Yeah, it's not just about the algorithms and the tech anymore.
Right.
It's about, like, the real world problems that it can solve, the
Exactly.
innovations that it's enabling.
Yeah, and it feels like, we talked about this a little bit, but that sense of like we're really seeing something, I don't know, like a technological revolution happening in real time.
Totally. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be a part of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, listener name, I'd love to hear, just from everything that we've talked about, everything that you sent over, what are you thinking? Like, has this kind of like changed or shifted your perspective on AI in any way?
Yeah, what's, like, standing out to you as the most interesting or surprising thing?
Yeah, because we've covered a lot.
We have, yeah.
We talked about the AI maturity model. We've, debunked some myths, or at least, tried to.
Try to separate fact from
Yeah,
fiction.
exactly. Talked about, the creative potential of AI, but then also, the environmental concerns. Oh, and then that whole thing about, where's the data come from,
Right, and whose is it?
right? Is it even ethical?
Legal.
Legal?
A lot to consider.
It really is. It's really fascinating, though. I mean, it just seems like it touches everything.
It does, yeah. I mean, whether you're into tech or not,
Right.
it's like AI is shaping the world around us, whether we realize it or not.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what makes it so important to kind of like learn about it and be aware of it and, be part of the conversation.
Totally. I mean, it's not just up to, like, the tech experts to figure it out, right?
Right.
Like, we all have a stake in this. It's going to take all of us, working together to make sure that AI is used for good.
Right. That it benefits everyone,
Because-
not just, a select few.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between, like, the innovation and, responsibility.
Right. Making sure that it serves humanity ultimately.
There you go. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
AI serving humanity instead of the other way around,
Yeah.
which, hopefully we can avoid that whole scenario.
Yeah. Yeah. No robot overlords.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, awesome. Well, listener name, I think this has been a really fascinating deep dive. Hopefully you found it interesting, maybe even a little bit thought-provoking.
Yeah, definitely a lot to think about.
Yeah, and we've just scratched the surface here, right?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, this is like a constantly evolving field. Who knows what the future holds for AI?
Exactly. That's part of what makes it so interesting.
Yeah. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, keep learning. And thanks for sending us down this rabbit hole with you.
Yeah, this is fun.